Hi guys, I am back. I honestly didn't know if I was going to be. I kind of went back and forth on whether or not I was going to revive my podcast. My last episode was February and here we are in October. And just this morning I was telling someone, my new boyfriend, we'll get there, that I really want to revive the pod. It's just a form of content that I really enjoy creating. However, I noticed earlier this year that there's quite a few close friends podcasts coming out, and one being by Instagram themselves. So for legal reasons, I really want to rebrand it. So I've kind of been dragging my feet on that. But I owe you guys a huge catch-up episode. So much has happened in the last few months. So much has happened. I went on a month-long trip to Europe. I met my boyfriend. I had some major health struggles in June and July. I went back to Paris to see him in July as well. I broke my arm in August. I went to New York City for my sister's 30th in August. I went home and brought him home with me to meet my family in September. And here we are in October. And I am chilling this month at home. And yeah, just want to start picking up some of my side projects again and especially get back into my own content creation. The podcast for YouTube, for Instagram, TikTok, all the things on top of being a social media manager for brands and creators. So, lots to catch up on. Let's get into it. Today I'm drinking a rather big glass of rosé. It's actually nice and dry. It's called Avenue. I don't know. I had some friends over a few weekends ago. I had girls here and this was left in my fridge. So, I'm enjoying it. Love a good dry rosé, love a French rosé. Seem to enjoy things in France. Okay, let's start from the top. February, start of the year. It was a harder start to the year for me. I just had some personal things going on and then was gearing up for a month-long Europe trip in April with a friend and was extremely single. I think about 10 months into my boy sober journey. I had been off dating apps for 10 months, was completely disconnected from my dating life, but also still lonely, if I'm completely honest, because I've always wanted a relationship. It was just, I hit my limit. I know in one of my podcast episodes I talked about it, where I just absolutely hit my limit last year. Just couldn't even bring myself to be on a dating app, talk to men. I just hit my limit, but I'm so glad I took that big break because I really do believe it's one of the reasons why I am here in a happy and healthy relationship. That and hot take, that New Year's Eve trend where you eat grapes underneath the table at midnight. I think it's a Spanish trend. My girlfriends and I did that at New Year's going into 2025. First year, again, single for 10 years, ate these grapes under the table. Find a man. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. But it happened. So if you're super single, eat those grapes under the table. Another one of my girlfriends who was single and ate the grapes with me also found a boyfriend. So after that, went on a month-long trip to Europe. I went to England. So we did London and Scotland, but all over Scotland. We did a big road trip. We started in Glasgow? Yes, started in Glasgow and went up north, went to Inverness, Isle of Skye, saw so much, honestly, so many picturesque, castles and sheep and the Highland cows, the whole bit. It was a lot of fun. And I was so burnt out from work at that point. I had not taken proper time off from work for over a year. I didn't take any time off in 2024. I absolutely hustled and was I really wanted an actual break from work. So that road trip in Scotland was so beautiful. I'll pop in photos if you're doing the visual video, but it was so pretty. And I wore sweatpants and no makeup for an entire week. I think if not 10 days, I forget how long we were doing that road trip, but it was such a great way to cure my burnout. It was so beautiful, and yeah, I loved it so much. From the road trip, we went to Edinburgh, and it was fun. I actually have been to Edinburgh very briefly. I've been to Scotland once before because my sister did a semester there. I was there in 2017 and then back in 2024. Love the vibe of Scottish people, honestly. But we did find Edinburgh was like a little bit more snoozy than we expected. But we still managed to have fun. We went to this like cool restaurant called like The Witchery or something. And like did all the touristy things you need to do in Edinburgh. It's a super cool vibe, but we did expect it to be a little bit more lively. Maybe we were just looking for more fun after being on the road for so long, but we did think Edinburgh would provide more excitement, and it did not. But I did manage to go to the spot where they filmed the show one day. If you guys have ever watched that show ruined my life for like 3 weeks. I was so devastated after watching that show. It's so good. It was kind of fun to go to that spot. And then from Edinburgh, we flew to the south of France. Nothing new there. I've been quite a few times. If you haven't, you have to go. South of France, we did Nice, we did Cannes, we did Villefranche-sur-Mer, which was really pretty. We did Aix, and then we went up to Champagne. I've been to Paris 100 times. You know this is my favorite city in the world. I'm speeding through this because I know you guys want to get to the boyfriend part, so we're almost there, I promise. But we went to Champagne, never been to Champagne. It's like an hour, maybe an hour and a half outside of Paris. Super easy to get to. It's also super affordable, guys. And I noticed there was a lot of bachelorette parties there. And I was like, what a great idea. Like, if you're not into like the penis straws and all that kind of stuff, Champagne in France, what an amazing way to celebrate getting married with your girlfriends. You go winery hopping, but it's Champagne. Like, we went to the Veuve Clicquot. I think, is it called a Champagnery? I don't even remember. That's so bad. Fun fact, the woman who owned Veuve Clicquot, icon, queen, look it up. But my favorite definitely was Renoir. It's so expensive, of course I love it, but the taste was the best. I do find that the Veuve is a little bit too Chardonnay. I really like the Rosé Veuve, but when it comes to Champagne, Taittinger is one of my favorite. We went and actually they weren't open, so I was kind of bummed, but it also looked a little like wah-wah. Renoir was 10 out of 10 across the boards. It was stunning. It was so beautiful. They had this cool modern like architecture and like art, and then the champagne was just so good, honestly. And then of course we go to Paris, my favorite city in the entire world. On this trip, actually my intent was to figure out if I wanted to move to Europe. Like, going into 2025, I was like, I'm done with Vancouver. And if I really like look inwards, it's because I just wanted to find someone to share my life with. And yeah, I think I was just kind of like, okay, like Vancouver's working for me, like with friends and with work and stuff, but it is just not working for my romantic life. Like, I've given it a decade. Like, how much longer can I really give this city? I love Vancouver so much, but like, what do you do? Like, I want kids. I'm 32, like, or 31 at the time. But yeah, so I was trying to figure out if I wanted to move to London or Paris. We went to both cities. And I mean, Paris is Paris. Highlights, food, architecture. I went to the YSL Museum while I was there this time. I saw the Eiffel Tower. Like, I went with a friend who hadn't been to Paris before, so we kind of did all the touristy things, which I honestly haven't done the last few times I've been, but it was a lot of fun to do those again. I will never say no to Paris. And then this will segue into boyfriend. So while I was there, I matched, so I took a huge break from dating apps, right? But then when I was on this trip, I was like, okay, Vancouver guys are not it for me, but I will break my boy sobriety to have dating apps while I'm on this trip because European men. So I'm in Paris and I matched with a whole bunch of guys, and I matched with Mark, and we had just missed each other or something. So he kind of just lost my interest because I was like, okay, well, I can't meet up with this guy. And I was like, just trying to go on some dates. I did end up going on one date. I counted how many times he checked his phone while we were on a 1 hour date, and it was something like 14 times. And he was just super arrogant. And I was like, oh God. So pass on that. And then I honestly went back to Vancouver and was like ready to delete those apps again. And I was like going through, and Mark had like followed up with me like 3 times. And I was like, as I was deleting my messages from guys and about to delete the apps, I like looked at his profile and I was like, oh, who are you? Ironically, he's been to Vancouver quite a few times for work, but he had been here like 15 years ago or something and bought a Vancouver Canucks jersey, and he actually like lives in it. Like he loves that thing. But I'm like going through and I was like he's cute, but like how did this Vancouver guy get on my feed while in Paris? I fully thought he was from Vancouver. So many weird signs, honestly, guys. There's been so many weird signs. But anyways, I was like, he's kind of cute. I'm gonna respond to him. So I went back to his messages, and it was like 5 days since he last tried to talk to me, and I literally was like, oops, so sorry, I got distracted by the Eiffel Tower. Oh my God. And I don't know, he responded, and all of my prompts that I'm also just gonna say for the single ladies were very intentional, because I was like, I'm so fucking over this game and the game. So I was like, I'm gonna scare off all the commitment phobes right off the bat. So one of my prompts was like, swipe right if you're looking for a Canadian wifey. Like, haha, joking, but serious. And he responded, and he's like, absolutely, as long as you're looking for an Australian hubby or something like that. And him and I just kind of went back and forth. I think it was like a Friday night, and I was doing nothing. I was back in Vancouver, and he was like, want to hop on a call? And we were on the phone for 4 hours and 40 minutes. The very first time we ever spoke. I actually had to ask him this morning. I was like, how online do you want to be? Because like, I'm going to talk on my podcast, and like, are you okay with this? One of the things I adore about this man is that he's just not judgy. Being someone who's on social media, I can't even tell you how many guys have been so rude to me, so condescending, and or when they find out I do social media, have just straight up unmatched me. I actually think I had a guy, I planned a date with him, and then he somehow found my socials, and he just ghosted me. And I like got ready for the date and everything, and he just ghosted me. So that's cool. He's just super curious. Like, he is such a curious guy, and me being in social media rather than being judgy, he's like, tell me more about that. Wow, this seems so cool, blah, blah, blah. To the point where like, he's super into museums and stuff. He's very curious. He loves a museum. So he always takes a ton of videos and stuff. So I kind of taught him how to put together like a TikTok or a reel, and he's so open to my career and what I do and is supportive, but also is like, let me try this. This seems kind of cool. So anyways, back to how we met. I am going to give you the short version because I don't want this podcast to be like 3 hours long because we have so much to cover. But yeah, we talked for 4.5 hours, 4 hours and 40 minutes the first time we ever spoke. And he was in the French Pacific for a while. It's very far and hard to get to. So when he goes for a good chunk of time. And we just got into this routine of talking for like hours every day. We were just like instantly obsessed with each other. Like it was super instant. Like I've never had anything like that in my entire life. And I've also never had anything so reciprocal in my entire life. Like him and I would be like on the phone and I'd be like, okay, well, I'll let you go. And he'd be like, why? Where are you going? Like, are you busy? I'll leave you alone if you're busy. And I'm like, no, I'm not busy. And he's like, great, let's keep talking. But yeah, we just kept talking and talking and talking and talking, and we ended up hitting like 67 hours on the phone, like something insane in May. And then finally he's like, I'm coming to Vancouver. And I was like, yay. So he booked a flight to Vancouver. He flew from Tahiti. And we just had like the most perfect first date ever. It was so cute. He was supposed to be there for a few days and we're just having such a good time. Again, like he ended up staying for a couple weeks. So went right from a hotel to like essentially moving in with me, or like still in vacation mode, but like, you know, stayed in Vancouver. I showed him around Vancouver. I showed him all the touristy things. And we had such a good time. We did everything. We did English Bay, EL Town, we did Lynn Canyon, we went to Squamish, we went to like everywhere. Honestly, we did all the classic touristy Vancouver things. But then of course, like he was like, I don't want to overstay my welcome or anything. We had such a great time, but he's like, I am heading to France, back to France. So he went to France for 2 months, I think. I was like, okay. So he invited me to go to France. We were apart, I think, for like 2, maybe 3 weeks. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna squeeze in a super quick Paris trip. Even though I had just been there in April, we're now at July, and I was like, okay, what I'm gonna do is not tell anyone. Like I was kind of keeping it on the down low because, I don't know, I never post guys on like social media, like ever. This is really the first time, especially in my social media career, where I've like posted a guy. But I was just keeping it to myself, enjoying the relationship to myself. Honestly, we had such a good time. He did so many cute things. Like he got me passes to the Dior gallery because it was sold out when I was there in May. We went to the Louvre. They had this couture exhibit. He knows I'm obsessed with fashion, so we booked this fashion stuff. He was so patient with me. He came along, he was taking pictures, he was so good, like dinners, everything, the works. Like it was such a nice trip. But like the one thing I will really say is like I've been to Paris so many times, but I'm also single, self-employed, oldest daughter, like the work. So I'm really not used to like letting go of control. And like I will say it was so nice to like have someone else plan things. And like even just like the metro, right? When you're going, like taking the trains and stuff in Paris or a new city that you're not familiar with, just like not having to have Google Maps out. Like I was just holding his hand and he was just dragging me around town. I was able to just like enjoy myself. It was so nice. Yeah. And then I came back to Vancouver. He followed me back here like a week later. And then, yeah, unfortunately I kind of came into some like health issues. I won't get into it too much because it was a lot. And then following that, I broke my arm. So one day we were like, we're so cheesy, honestly. One day we're in Vancouver and we're like, let's recreate the first day we met. So we like went to the place we went to brunch to, and we walked the seawall and like, just like we're doing all the things. And then I remember it vividly. We're sitting at that brunch restaurant and he was like, okay, like let's go grocery shop and be adults. It's Sunday, like let's get ready for the week. And Sunday's my only real day off work, right? And I was like, no, I was like, no, I just want to like forget responsibility and adulting for like another couple hours. And he's like, okay. And it was my idea. I was like, let's go on Lime scooters and scoot the seawall. And I was like, he's like, okay, like whatever you want. Yeah. So we were scooting the seawall, and if you know me, you know I love Lime scooters. I was thrilled to have them in town. They have Lime scooters right outside of my apartment. The first few times I used them, I was thrilled. I was having so much fun to get around my own city with these little things. Like, I just love them. They're so much fun. But after years of using them, like the cobblestone roads in Paris and like having another friend on the back with me and everything, of course, on like the beautifully paved seawall in Vancouver, it was like a bump in the road. Like where a tree was, like one of the roots was like quite big and the city had like paved over it. Anyways, I went flying broke the fall with my palms and I guess my shoulder. My palms completely like ripped off. Like they're pretty healed now, but like they were so gross. And then I broke my arm, my humerus, but like a piece chipped off, so I ended up needing surgery. So I broke it August 10th and got the surgery August 26th. And in between those dates, I had already booked and paid for a trip to New York for my sister's birthday, my sister's 30th birthday, so a milestone birthday. And I was like, fuck, I'm out of this money if I don't go. But on top of that, I had my younger brother and my sister's best friend flying into New York to surprise her. And I was facilitating the surprise. So I was like, I really have to go. So I flew to New York with a broken arm, like with a floating piece of bone in my shoulder. And like managed to have a good time? Question mark? No, it was great. We still did all the touristy stuff. We ate, we drank. When it came to like going out later at night, like I just couldn't. During this time, I also turned 32. It was my birthday and did like a brunch with my friends. And now that I'm like feeling better and catching up with my friends, all of them are like, yeah, you were pretty drugged out. I'm like, because I was like on pain meds, all sorts of painkillers. And then yeah, everyone else was like, no, you seemed a little loopy, a little quiet, a little like, woo. So interesting. By the way, Mark was here for all this. So he was there for the arm break. He was there for New York. He came to New York with me, and then he came back to Vancouver with me after New York to continue to take care of me post-surgery. Surgery was fine. I'm still in a sling. It's like mid-October now. It's just been a much slower process than I thought. Like I hurt myself, obviously. I went to the hospital when I broke it, and they're like, it's a fracture. And in my mind, I was like, great, it's not broken. And they're like, actually a piece chipped off and you need surgery. I was like, okay. So yeah, and then obviously being self-employed, no paid time off, I've just been pushing through. But I'm so grateful for Mark for like taking care of me. At one point with the broken arm, it being like so fresh and so sore and so horrible, but then also like scraping off my palms. Like I couldn't, like we went from honeymoon phase to like reality so quick. And the fact that he was not scared off during all this says so much, because like I couldn't even like wash myself because it would get soap into these like deep wounds on my palms, plus the broken arm. Like he was like feeding me at one point. Like it was not sexy, no. But he's a good one for sure. He really is. And then yeah, things continued to go strong with me and Mark, and I hadn't been home since Christmas. I just wanted to see my grandma and my dad, and he was really eager to meet them too. Like my grandma's older, my grandma's 82, and I don't know, it seemed like a good time. So we went, he got to see the Sioux in the fall. It was lovely. He met the cousins, he met Bon Sioux, which is his Sault Ste. Marie obsession. Yes, he loved it. But anyways, my cousin like decked her house out in Bon Sioux in September to welcome him, and it was so cute and wholesome. We had such a good few days in the Sioux. That is the long story short of it, guys. It's been a wild year. Just like, you know, I've been having the best time. Having the best time, but it was also really tough with my health issues and then the broken arm and the surgery. Like I keep saying, it was like the best and worst summer of my life. Like I spent combined 5 weeks bedridden between my health issues and breaking my arm. And although that sucked, I somehow still went to Paris and New York. It's been a whirlwind, as they say, for sure. So that's my big catch up. There are so many other little details. I think, especially if I know for the single girlies and everything, I want to get into more about Mark. Him and I were talking about his boundaries when it comes to what I share on the internet now. But I did ask him if he'd come on the podcast. And I think I could get him on here. So maybe we can tell the story in more detail another time, because there's so many other little details. There's so many cute things. He's so thoughtful and so cute. Like, after having such a hard time with dating, like, he is just such a breath of fresh air. He's not real. Not perfect, because nobody's perfect, but there's not much to not like. I'll tell ya. He's a good man. I've always said, like, everyone's like, what are you looking for? What's your type? I just want a good man. Like, I want kids. I want someone who's gonna be an amazing dad. I want someone who treats me great. And he is those things. He's also nice to look at. His accent is also nice to hear. Yeah, and he's so good to me, and I'm happy. Yeah, so anyways, enough gushing. I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know what kind of topics you guys want me to talk about, or if, like, there's any specific details you want. I brainstormed some topic ideas today. I have so many, so we'll see what I can commit to. I'm not gonna overpromise and underdeliver this time, but I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much. If you listened all the way through to this point, thank you. No matter what platform you're on, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Linz Rosso. If you're a Pinterest girl, I'm also, like, really into Pinterest these days. Linz Rosso. And I love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.